All right, catch this one, right? Take it back to God. Throw it, see if he comes back. I got a word. Rebellion is appropriate. Rebellion is appropriate to someone who comes from a mindset of conditional love. Hear me. Rebellion is appropriate to the position that one has when they are coming from conditional love. Like that's what they know. Think about the prodigal son. We look at it from this place sometimes where it's like, well, if he would have just stayed with this father, he could have avoided going out and squandering everything. Right? Or Peter, like if he wouldn't have denied Jesus. But I'm getting this understanding that no, this was part of the rebellion that these men had to go through to learn what unconditional love is. And it is more so a demonstration of the depth of the Father's heart in these stories and in all of the like parables of the Bible or whatever, where you see man falling short. But we only view it this way because we have this conditional love mindset. And so we see rebellion, like going against the rules, is something that's inappropriate. But what I'm believing, I'm receiving is no, rebellion is appropriate to someone who's coming from conditional love. Like that is their mindset. And the only way to go from conditional love to unconditional love is to have the Father interrupt you in your mindset, right? Like they have to get it out of their system. Like Peter is like holding on to this thing where he's just like, I have to obey him. I have to follow him. And he's putting that upon himself. And Jesus is like, no, I'm going to use the rebellion in you because you're thinking that this relationship has conditions where you have to follow me. Otherwise, I will deny you. So I'm going to have you deny me to show you unconditional love. It was always going to be a part of Peter's story for him to smack dab into unconditional love. How else are we supposed to come to know unconditional love if it doesn't meet us in the mindset that a lot of us are coming from, which is conditional? And of course, we're going to be rebellious if that is where we're coming from, because part of us, I believe, deep down rejects conditional love. And so it's almost like we want to test it out and see if it's there. And I feel like the Lord just like allows you to go and do what you were going to do. And it's not this like, oh, like I'm giving you a chance to come back. It's this, to me, it's this, you were always going to do that. That was always going to be part of your story. That's the weakness of man and woman. It's okay. How can you know unconditional love if he has not revealed unconditional love? What do you think it looks like for you to come to know unconditional love if it doesn't meet you in the place of condition and says, nope. You think you have to do this to get this? Nope. But you're not going to understand that until you go and do something, until you are rebellious. And then you say, oh, this is inappropriate. I need to come back, right? Like he squanders everything, the prodigal son, and he comes back. And you can look at it like, oh, like he just shouldn't have like went out there. He should just listen to his father, right? But no, man. He was always going to go out there. He was always going to squander it all because the story is not about him making the right decision and he made the wrong one, but there's grace. It's the story of the depth of the Father's heart that is, I am unconditional love. Your rebellion is appropriate because of where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. I don't see your rebellion the way you see it. I see it as appropriate because I know where you're coming from. And so what is it in you that is rebellious towards him, that he is using circumstances or whatever to draw it out of you, to put it on the table so you can see this right here, I'm not ashamed of this. This right here, this doesn't bother me. You come from a place where you know conditions and you've tried to play by the rules because you have the other son, right, who like stayed with the father, but it wasn't out of love. He was trying to meet conditions that weren't there. He was trying to do this thing in his own strength. And so you just basically just have two sides of the same coin. Both rebellious kids, right? Both rebellious sons. And the unconditional love of the Father and the depth of that is what we get to see in the story. Your rebellion is appropriate because of where you're coming from. He does not blame you where you were coming from. In fact, he meets you in the rehearsed speech that you have saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, like I'll get it right," or whatever. No. He stops that. He interrupts what you think you know and comes in and gives you a robe and a ring and kisses you and says, "Welcome back. Like, I knew you had to go away so that you can come back and know that this is a place where unconditional love resides." And you were not going to know unconditional love until you went out and you were rebellious, and then you felt ashamed of being rebellious, and so you came back with your what you believe to be your tail between your legs. And it's just like, no, this was all part of my plan. I am not ashamed of you for being rebellious. It is appropriate from where you are coming from. Now watch me interrupt what you think you know to show you unconditional love. And this was just the way it was always going to go down. This is the way that it was always going to go down. And so if your part of your story is like this prodigal son, prodigal daughter situation, that was always how it was going to go down for you to come to know unconditional love, right? We must see first where we are coming from. Our behavior is appropriate to our understanding. So if we understand a love that is conditional, we are going to in some way be rebellious towards that because we were not made to be under those restraints. And so let that shit come out. I believe that he's just going to allow it anyway so that you can see and be proved wrong. And it's like every single person is going to be proved wrong because they're starting from a place where they think they know because of where they're coming from. And he's just like, you don't know me at all. Unconditional love here, unconditional love there, unconditional love everywhere. It's always going to be part of the story for unconditional love to meet you where you are.